Have you ever wondered what makes bodies tick? Are you creating the sexual reality you desire and require? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? What if your fantasies are not as strange as you thought they were? What if you could learn to be kinder to your body and kinder to others' bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Have you lost your mojo and wondered where to find it? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here is the host of The Pleasure Zone, Body Whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everybody. Tonight we are talking some fun stuff, and just wanted to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what we are talking about in a few minutes. So I'd like to tell you guys who I am and what you're listening to, because you might have just tuned in or like, what's going on this radio show? This woman's not saying what's happening. So I am your fantastically crazy, totally out of the box, super excited to be with you host. My name's Milica Jelenic, and what I'm so excited to be with you tonight for, this time, and like every night I'm excited for something to be with you guys, and particularly tonight is I'm so excited to share with you how to have your lover keep coming back. Because I've had like many conversations with people and they're just like, I just want him to come back. And this is like a really common theme. So I thought, okay, I'm going to explore this and like, what do I actually know about this? So my tips and tools may not be the ones that you find on the internet, because I didn't actually look up anything on the internet this time, which I usually do. This time, these are all my tips and tools along with my lover's tips and tools. Well, you guys aren't going to get to see his tool, but know that his tool is involved in having me keep coming back. So just so you know. So we will be getting to that totally awesome topic in just a few minutes. But I'd also like to tell you a little bit about me, because you might be wondering who I am and what I'm doing here. So I actually have an entire business that's based on touching bodies. So my love of bodies and touching bodies has totally inspired me to play with the pleasure zone. And I say play with the pleasure zone as the pleasure zone is its own creation. And I'm just like so excited that it invites me to come back every week to speak on it. So like, thanks, pleasure zone, for still have me. I actually had somebody ask me recently, do you run out of topics? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Sometimes maybe I do, but so far I haven't. So my other business, though, is that I do have an entire business based on touching bodies, playing with bodies, and inviting you to greater ease with your body. So what does that mean? Like, a lot of people walk around with, intensity in their body, density, stress, pain. And what I've been trained in for so many years is actually to find my own sort of art. Just like any artist will, say, learn how to do some basic things like brushstroke work. Basically, this is what my training was, some basic understanding of anatomy and movement of bodies. And then literally I have added my own thing to it, which has created it as an art. So the work that I do with bodies, a lot of people have reported to me that it feels like having yoga done to you. And that work is out of the training of something called the mitzvah technique, which is a really super gentle body work that I love doing on all kinds of bodies. I've even done it on horses, which is pretty freaking fun. The horse really liked it so much that the horse got turned on. So how's it get any better than that? Have to say, happens to human bodies too. So the other thing that I offer in my private practice is something called the access bars, which is an energetic process done mostly on the head with touch, and it releases tons and tons of limitations. And we have so many limitations with bodies, sexuality, healing, money, control. Like, we have so many. And so what the bars do is you touch them, there's this amazing dissipation of electrical stuff in your body, and your body has more ease. And so there are tons and tons of YouTube videos on that. You can even look up one done by a neurologist called Dr. Fannin. So please check out the research if it's something you're interested in. And you can always contact me on my website, too, if you'd like information, www.milicajelenic.com. That's one way to find me. Write to me. You can find me on Facebook, Milica Jelenic, so Milicajelenic. I am on Facebook. There's several of us on Facebook. So I'm, the extra pretty freaking cute one. You'll know which one that is. And not to say the other ones aren't cute, but I have to say, I'm pretty top notch in the lineup of Milica Jeleniches. Some of them don't have their faces too, so there you go. On there. So I wanted to just say that because I've noticed more and more bodies are having a lot of lack of ease, lack of movement. There's just something that can be added to bodies, and so that is something that I do offer in my daily practice, along with many other things. Those are two main things that I absolutely adore gifting to bodies. So, if your body loves to be touched, to be moved, and to have greater ease, and you would love to have a session with me, just contact me and let me know. What else is possible for traveling around the world and working on bodies. I would love to come to your city and do that if you aren't in mine, or wouldn't love to come to Toronto or my little town. So as I mentioned before, I mentioned that, I had a conversation with my lover husband. He's my lover husband, but I'm still continuing to call him my lover because I'd like to keep the lover end of the bargain up. And I was mostly discussing with him. He was asking me, well, what's your topic tonight for the show? I said, well, the topic is how to have your lover keep coming back. And he was like, good for you. You never seem to run out of topics. I'm like, yeah, no, I seem to keep having topics. And I said, so what is it that had you keep coming back to me? And with not even a second hesitation, he said, you. It's easy. That's just so easy. It's just because you're you. I was like, okay, give me more to work with. I'm like, okay, that's the wisdom of Dane here, right there. Be you, change the world. And I'm like, okay, that's it? Do you have nothing else to say? I said, what can I tell my listeners that you say about this? And he said, really, it really is that. He said, part of it for him was, other women sometimes do this impress thing where they'll show up and they'll maybe look different, or they'll say yes to something at first, and then after they're like, but I actually don't really like that, but I'm just doing it to make you happy. He's like, you never did that. You were just you all the time. It didn't, you didn't get revolted all of a sudden out of nowhere about something or any of that, right? So luckily I had other ideas of how to get the lover to keep coming back, or the show would be done, right? So thanks, Ish, that's so true. The show would be over. Just be you. And that's how you have your lover keep coming back. Essentially, there's so much that is true about that. And I totally agree with him on it. Him being him is what had me keep coming back as well. And one of the things, too, that he said, and I love this point of view because he's so freaking funny, he said, before you came into this embodiment, you did have an awareness of what body was going to have me keep coming back. And so, you did pick the bum that you got, right? And it's your ass, let's face it, it's your ass that has me keep coming back. I'm like, sweet, I'm so glad that I did this bum. How freaking wise am I that, 41 years ago, before I chose embodiment, that I chose to have a body that would create this ass that would have him go, I like that bum, I'm going to keep coming back. Come on the back, whatever, all of it. It all seems to tie in, in whatever direction you'd like to take that. You are correct. So one of the other things, so I was saying to him, I'm like, well, come on, give me more. He's like, yeah, no, that's really it. He's like, most people will tell you that it's because they're kind or they're sweet or because the person's generous. And he's like, no, it's all about the base. I'm like, all right then. Well, that really helped me there, Mike. So now what can I say? So we, so I'm sitting around going, what is it? So what is it really? And I created a list, and my list, you can have your own list too, but hey, this is my show, so this is my list. And number 10 on my list, and this might seem like a really, really logical number, a really logical thing, but what I know is it isn't, especially in the area that I live in. A lot of people don't even have this step in their life, so never mind with a lover. And the number 10 step is common hygiene. So on my list of common hygiene is at least wash your face and your hands and brush your teeth. Common hygiene, people. I walk into the grocery store in my local area, and there are people who I swear to Lord Jeebus that these people have not had a bath in weeks. That, they've been working with horses and animals, they're working in manure, and really, they don't smell very good. They smell kind of like, what? So, I think, that's a really, really good tip, So wash your feet, wash your armpits. I call it the whore bath. If you're going to do nothing else, do the whore bath. And that's wash your bum and crotch, wash your armpits, wash your boobies, wash your feet, hands, and face. If you can't do anything else, do the whore bath. Yes, the whore bath. It's the quick, get in, flick the water around, get that shower head out, take it to your pits, take it to your crotch, take it to your feet, take it to your face, and you're out of there. You got your 4-minute whore bath. You really cannot go wrong with at least cleaning up the parts that are going to give off the most smell. And if you are on a date, and you like the person, your body's going to give off pheromones anyway, even if you have showered. So you are have like your own sexy smell about you, and you don't have to mask it, but you certainly don't have to mask it with the smell of, say, I don't know, cigarettes, tons of alcohol, I don't know, smell. Like, I like barbecue vegetables, but I don't really want or desire to have, maybe my lover smell like a sausage all night, because then I'm thinking about food. So it's not that it stinks me, it's that it will like trigger me to think I'm hungry and I want to eat, and not necessarily eat your crotch, but I actually might want to like put something else in my mouth, and it's distracting, right? So I like to have a person who smells like them in front of me. And oral hygiene, like it's kind of cool. My uncle is actually a dentist, and what he had actually told me one time, he said a lot of people will have their entire lives, they could have no cavities, and then they marry or have a lover that has different bacteria in their mouth, and the bacteria can actually combine together, can actually create cavities in both people. So if you are with a lover who tends to have cavities, you are picking up those bacteria, so they can lend to more cavities. Again, you don't have to have the point of view about that. It is something that's just like something that goes on with the, just the body and the way it reacts to these things. So you can be more aware of it, and it's something to wonder too, like if you never did have cavities and all of a sudden you're getting them and you have a new lover, just ask, hey, do you tend to have a lot of cavities? Something to be aware of. And some people say too, like, a little scent is great. So and be aware of your partner, because you could be with somebody who's highly sensitive to smell and highly sensitive to scents, and they might actually have a reaction to you, and you might actually turn them right off if you do have tons of cologne on, or if you do have like super scented soaps going on. So it's a good thing to ask them in advance, like, do you enjoy scent, like, or do you not enjoy scent? My partner doesn't really enjoy that as much, so we kind of have it around the house, but not around our bodies. So it's not something that it works for him. In either way, it doesn't work for me or against me, so I'm neutral to that. So, wow, time's like already flying, and I'm on number 10. I'm going to have to speed this up when I come back. So in about 17 seconds, we're actually going to go to break. And so when we come back, we're going to talk about tip number 9. And tip number 9 is not the tip of the penis. It is tip number 9 for how to have your lover keep coming back. When we come back from break, we can talk about that.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK. Or Canada, 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and tonight I've got a little frog in my throat, and tonight we're actually talking about how to have your lover keep coming back. And for me, this is like a really great topic because so many people have been, I've been talking about this with so many friends and clients, and so I just had some ideas and I thought I'd pull them together. Now, feel free if it's something that, if you really enjoy the show, if you enjoy my energy, if you enjoy my interesting advice, and if you've listened to my other shows and you'd like to speak with me in person, a session with me via Skype or via phone, you can contact me www.milicajelenic.com. So that's milicajelenic.com. And you can contact me and we can create a session together. We can rock it out and see what shows up in your life after my wild and crazy advice. So I have heard that it contributes on occasion to people and their lives. So tip number 10, for those of you who were not with us, is common hygiene. So feel free to listen to the beginning of the show at your leisure because there will be a replay. It's basic hygiene. Brush your teeth, wash your hands, wash your feet, wash your bum, get it going on. And, have your body feeling really happy. For me, my body is so happy when I'm clean. And I just feel like, I don't have a bunch of things I'm worried about, like, oh my God, does my crotch smell? Oh my God, do my armpits smell? Oh my God, did I brush my teeth? Like, that for me can make me feel so distracted and so not present. So these are actually tips, very simple things that can actually start to have you feel more present in your body and with your partner. And being present is really an amazing way to have somebody keep coming back. As my lover said, it's because you were you that I kept coming back. And really, I just had this sense of truly feeling good about myself when I would go on dates with him. So that really assisted. And then he married me. So how's it getting any better than that? So number 9, know that you look great and don't look for your lover to tell you that. If you're looking for proof from anybody, you're so going to get yourself into a tight wad of mess internally, mentally. If you're like, how do I look tonight? What do you think I look like? Even if you're not saying it out loud and you're wondering energetically, like, do they like how I look? Do they blah, blah, blah? Like, if you're looking for judgment, stop it. That's about all I have to say about that. And please, like, instead of judging you or looking for somebody to approve of you, just start to, like, know when you look in the mirror, like, acknowledge the parts of you that you find attractive and sexy and just amplify them. And so what do I mean by that? Like, add more energy to expand that energy, make that energy as big as the universe. And if you really don't know at all how to do that, please contact me. I can take you through some exercises. And it can be very easeful. If you are aware of how to already do that, awesome. So they're quoting me in the back end. If you're looking for judgment, stop it. And it's true. It's really like a choice. I could do a million clearings on that forever. And when it comes down to it, choice trumps processing every time. So, you could go to your therapist for the next 35 years and go, I don't know why I don't like myself. Just freaking stop it. Choose something else. Start liking yourself. Holy lifting. I know, and I could be making money on that for the rest of my life. However, I'd just like to tell you to just knock it off. If my daughter does that and she gets into a mood, I'm like, hey, enough, knock it off. Now go find something that is actually kind to you and to the rest of us. So when you're actually being kind to you and receiving you and knowing that you look great and you feel great and you don't look for approval from others or to have them make you feel better, it's so much more fun to be around. So, and you being fun to be around contributes to way more people than, you being grumpy and stuff. So, number 8. I know, so number 1 was common hygiene, and number 8 is common courtesy. Common courtesy is something I find is lacking altogether in the dating world right now. In relationships, common courtesy, one of them to me, and we have this a lot. If you're on a date with a woman or if you're on a date with a man, put away your freaking social media. You do not need to hashtag that you're on a date. You do not need to Instagram that you're on a date or FB message all your friends that you're on a date. Seriously, be present with the person that you're with and get off your freaking social media. And common courtesy number 2 is find a way to be kind to each other. If that means opening the door and or open the door for, the other person, or they open it for me, say thank you. I know. I was aware last night. I went out with my daughter and she said thank you to the waitress, and she said thank you when her food got there and said please and stuff. And the person that we were having dinner with was saying, wow, I love a kid with manners. It's rare to see a kid with such good manners. I was like, common freaking courtesy, just have it. If you weren't raised to have common courtesy and you weren't raised to actually say thank you or have politeness, you can call me for that too, and I'll freaking beat that politeness into you, because that's the kindness that I be, right? And it's common courtesy. To me, another common courtesy is like, if you're showing up at a person's house, just take your shoes off, unless they tell you otherwise. I was saying, like, we live in an area where there are people who are farmers, and they're walking and doing the muck in their barn, and they will just walk into their own houses with the muck in their feet. Now, that's fine. That's your own house. But if you're coming into my house, please ask permission before taking your mucky poopy boots all over my floor, because I'm going to say no. So please ask if you're with somebody, hey, can I take my shoes off or not? Because, these sort of things is like, just, they really start to set up where you can know what the other person is willing to receive from you or not. And if the person's like, oh, I'm not taking my shoes off for you, well, I think the date's done and maybe you don't really desire having them come back, just saying. So you can learn a lot about people by setting a standard to what you're willing to receive. right off the bat. And, you know, if you set the standard right off the bat that you're willing to receive somebody who just like neglects you and doesn't follow through, you set that up off the bat, then you're going to keep on getting it. So just consider what you are setting up right off the bat. Number 7, be willing to follow the energy. So if the energy in your date is kind of saying, okay, this is kind of going slumpy and you'd like to change it, you can ask, like, what would it take to change this? And sometimes being willing to follow the energy, say like the first date that I had with my now husband, he had asked me out to go for dinner, and when he arrived, I was like, wow, the energy is so not dinner. I was like, can I just like take you to the bedroom? He was like, okay. And the energy actually was more like, let's just get it on, because this is really what my body desires sex right now more than it desires food. So not to make it seem like I haven't gone on my 4th date and I don't know his cousin's first name and I haven't met his Aunt Judy yet, and until I meet Aunt Judy and know his cousin's first name, I can't have sex with him. No. Follow the energy. If the energy says, and if your body is speaking to you and saying yes now, and you're both in a space of receiving and vulnerability, you could actually create something freaking outstanding if you don't have the point of view that you have to do the date or you have to follow this certain standard set up by society. Like, I know people who do this they have a rule. This is 3 date. Well, before they have their 3rd date, they won't sleep with the person. I actually knew my lover before we dated because I saw him in his construction gear and was like, damn, I'm going to take that man down and I'm going to do things to his body because I just watched him build a wall and he's crazy sexy. So, and at the time he was with somebody and I wasn't going to interfere. And then it all showed up at like the most cool time. The universe is cool and contributed to that showing up. Holy God, I got to get through my list. This is crazy how fast time is going. I'll be creating more lists in the future because, wow. The other part of that could be like, so on my very list itself, I wrote, be willing to follow the energy. If the energy says oral sex tonight, follow it. If the energy says golden showers, follow it, damn it. If the energy says porn, just go for it. You never know what the energy is going to say. Just follow the energy. Even if it says something that you think is completely crazy, just follow the energy. Part of following the energy leads us to number 6, which is be willing to be the wild and crazy, out of control, out of concentricities, out of linearity being that you truly be. In my interesting point of view, people who are being like completely pretentious, in the box, in control, I don't find them that fun. So if you do, cool, and that might work for you. But even people who have that like attitude, there's usually something that if they let their barriers down, they can be a riot. So part of this out of control thing is willing to have your barriers down at all times with your partner. It's basically saying, I'm keeping my door open to you, and if I've kept my door open to you, you can actually come back. So if we are with somebody and we are like closing the door on them because, you know, we have some kind of judgment of ourselves that I should behave a certain way, I should be more proper, I should, you know, all the shoulds that we put in the way, then we haven't allowed that door to be open. And one of the keys to me to even a really great copulation and sex is to like have your barriers down and be willing to play with whatever's coming up, even if it's something that you think you may have never done. Like, I have a friend who is like, I don't know if I can do that, you know, anal sex thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. But what if you did? Like, how much more fun would that be if you didn't have a point of view about it and you allowed whoever it is, who may actually be a super fine expert in that art, to contribute to your body. So we are actually going to talk about number 5 when we come back from break. So we're going to head off to break now. And when we come back, we will talk about number 5 on the pleasure zone. Number 5 of how to have your lover keep coming back on the pleasure zone.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into the Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
What does optimal cell health mean, and how can you create it? Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy by Swiss Bionics can improve your well-being in every area of your life. The PEMF mat stimulates cells to move and create space between cells for optimal cell function. How does it get better than that? Use 2 to 3 times per day for 8 minutes will improve circulation and immune function. Cell metabolism and repair begins, and mobility also will increase. Do you desire better health? If you're interested or would like a session, call 613-473-3805 or in Toronto. Call or text 416-253-1617. Monthly rentals start at only $300 per month. Is now the time to choose optimal cell health?
This is the Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pleasure Zone. Tonight we've been talking about how to have your lover keep coming back. And one of them, coming in all those ways, one of the ways to have them keep coming back that we just talked about was willing to be the wild and crazy, out of control being you truly be. So even the most pretentious, snobby people, even like the Queen, I swear, has a wild side. My grandmother reminded me a lot of the Queen, and I know that somewhere, like behind closed doors, that woman did like crazy amazing things in bed, because she kept my grandpa around for a long time, and he knew anatomy, so he knew it, like he kind of knew how his body worked, and he knew how her body worked, so I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing. And so like be willing to be wild and crazy, even if you're not wild and crazy in your everyday life. Be willing to be out of control, out of concentricities, and out of linearity with the person you're choosing to be with, because truly that's who you be. You know, being the person who is like worried is not really you, because okay, that's my point of view, but truly if you're being you, would you be worried? Would you be pretentious? Would you be snobbish? So like truly if you were being you, how much would you actually be way more fun, playful, outrageous, outgoing, and full of wonder? So that was when we left with number 6. I was saying that when we come back from break, we'll talk about number 5. And number 5 for me is more of a do not. So I'm going to emphasize this. Do not, whatever you do not in the middle of copulation say, I really want children. Oh, aren't children wonderful? And also do not bring up the person's mother or the person's father, or the aunt who has a mustache. Like, don't bring up the stuff that's going to be a turnoff. Like, I actually had my daughter's dad used to do that. Like in the middle of like being naked, he would talk about my mom, and I'd be like, I'm done. I'm out of here. Are you mentally like unstable or stupid? Like, why would this turn me on? So I had a lot of points of view about with him, but really like just figure out what the, I don't know. Am I a little strange there? I'm not sure. For me, that doesn't work. If it doesn't work for you, cool. If you have a thing that you are attracted to your family, perhaps find somebody else that is too. Maybe they're in your family. Maybe you guys are attracted to each other. Work that out between you. But so for me personally, I'm not really interested in hearing you talk about my mother or father or your aunt or whatever during copulation. I know it's weird. I'm an oddball. So also, please don't talk about your future plans of what you would like to create with them, like, let's have babies together and blah, blah, blah. You know, even if you would like that, is the bedroom right in the middle of copulation the place for it? You kind of got to ask some questions there, like, truth, is now the time to say to him, oh, yeah, I'd love to have 2 babies with you. Oh, I'm sorry, you were just about to come. I'm sorry, did I make you lose your erection? Oh, crap, I guess we're not having those babies. And then you go into all this silly judgment, right? So, oh my God, people, just have, again, some common sense. Ask some questions. Like, would discussing this right now be a contribution to the future of what we are creating? Maybe not. Just maybe not. I know that my mother and I had those kind of conversations really early on, and they weren't when we were in the sack. They were like when we were driving to the restaurant or we were sitting around watching a movie. And, you know, that worked fine. And it was really funny because one of the things that he would randomly talk about, though, that I did love, that he would bring up in the middle of, randomly in the middle of sex. And, you know, he doesn't talk so much as he used to in the middle of sex. But he used to bring up, like, statistics in the middle of sex, and I loved it. He would just, like, randomly go, did you know that 39% of women and 52% of men do this and this and this? And I was like, I love your brain. I think I'm in love with your brain because you are quoting me statistics, and I love numbers, and I love statistics, and like you've done research and you're saying this stuff in bed. You're so freaking cool. So this is not going to work for everybody. However, he was being him, and I was like, wow, you've got a sweet, sexy brain. And so that had me keep coming back, you know. So please be in question and be aware. That might turn other people right off and go, what the hell was that? He's bringing up statistics. For me, it worked because I was intrigued by his brain. For other people, it might not work. And he was aware enough to know it would totally work with me. So again, that's using your awareness and also being willing to be in question to see what would contribute to a conversation or whatever. And the number 4 is to be willing to go places that you've never gone before. And that's not like going to Japan or going to Malaysia or going to that, you know, foreign restaurant and you've never tried Inuit food, so you're going to try that. It's not that. It's go places you've never gone before. So and it can literally be like, be willing to be so vulnerable that you might actually say something to them like, you know, I have this like sort of fantasy about such and such. Again, it may not be the most conducive to like talk about past traumas, to bring those up at that time, like, you know, lifetimes of abuse, sexual abuse or whatever, violence. I mean, that can be brought up in conversations, but to have your lover keep coming back, they are not necessarily looking to be your therapist or solve your problems. Most men, when you say stuff like that to them, will think they need to solve it. So if you bring them anything to the plate where there's a so-called issue in your life, or if you've got, you know, abuse, they're going to go right to, most men will go right to thinking that they need to assist you solve it or it might actually be giving them ammunition, which is what I gave to my ex. Was I became really vulnerable with him and told him like every past trauma I had, and then he would use them all manipulatively against me. So that didn't work, and I wasn't really choosing awareness at the time. So again, using awareness to be willing to go places that you've never gone before, and it may be, say, talking about something, and that something could be more like, hey, I'd like to try this, but I've never tried it. What do you think of that? It could be something like that, and just really being a question of what can be received by that person at the time. And willing to go places you've never gone before. It can also be like, hey, you know what? I've never stuck my finger in somebody's bumhole. Can I do that with you? Would that be okay? And they're like, okay, that sounds interesting. Let's try it. Or like, yeah, no, I'm not cool with that. Okay, cool. What else could we try that would be different? What other place could I go that I've never gone before? You know, it's that playfulness. The going places you've never gone before leads me to number 3, which is on, or did I put it in number 2? Number 3, yes. Be full of wonder. So that, you know, going places you've never gone before can really be explored more when you are full of wonder, like what would be fun here? Where can we go here? You know, and a lot of that is like willingness to have adventure in your relationship at all times. So, you know, one of the questions from Access Consciousness that I ask a lot is, what grand and glorious adventures will I have today? And that can be related to your relationship. And even if your relationship is one that's, you know, well-aged, you could say, or one that you've had that's brand new in this incarnation, in this lifetime and embodiment, you can still ask, you know, and have a lot of play with that, like, what can we do today? What grand and glorious adventures can we create together today? What can we co-create together, right? So be full of wonder and be willing to not have the expectation of what that's going to look like. Expectations are one of the greatest killers of having somebody show up again. If you'd like to have a man stop, or a woman just pretty much stop calling you, give them a lot of expectations, projections, judgments, rejections, conclusions, and computations, decisions about everything. You know, give them all that if you'd really like them to just walk away and never choose to talk to you again. You know, that'll work. But if you'd actually like them to keep on coming back, please destroy and uncreate all your projections, expectations, separations, judgments, rejections, decisions, conclusions, and computations that you have about what your lover should be like, look like, smell like, feel like, act like. You know, act like is one of those, is like one where there tends to be a lot of judgment and expectation. So if you had no expectation, you were full of wonder with your partner, like, oh, I wonder if we get to play today. I wonder what it'd be like if we get to play today. Ooh, and then to not have the picture of what that's going to look like. I would like this to show up in this way. And then it doesn't, and you get all disappointed or whatever. You can be full of wonder and be like, ooh, I wonder what it'd be like to pull his energy right now, or her energy, or sense their energy. Oh, what is their energy like today? And then you might actually get the awareness that their energy is not really willing to receive you right away, or they might be busy or something. So being full of wonder will actually assist you in asking all those questions so that you can communicate with your partner in a way that they can both receive you, respond to you, and create a line of communication together. So when you are full of projection, expectation, separation, judgment, rejection, decisions, all that stuff, then there isn't a lot of space for the other person to even respond. Like, you've basically just put up closed that door and went, yeah, no, this is what I expect. If it doesn't show up this way, I'm not opening the door, damn it. And they're like, but I was trying to get to you and you keep closing the door on me. And they'd really actually like to connect with you and you're just not allowing it. So barriers down. Please always remember to check, A, are my barriers up? If they are, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. Be you and expand. The whole time you're with somebody, just be in that space of truly being you. So one of the ones I also wrote was number 2, be willing to make a deal and deliver. So, like, I consider that every night with my husband in a way is kind of like having a one-night stand. So, because he could walk out or die tomorrow, and I could walk out or die tomorrow. So, my deal is kind of like when we're having fun. For me, my deal and deliver with me is to be so totally present with myself and with him that if this was our last night, it's going to be freaking awesome. And then to not have the expectation in the morning that he's going to show up. I have a lot of deal and delivers with myself in relationship. And when you actually create a deal and deliver with you, and what is that? So having a deal and deliver with you is like, what are you willing to be like deliver in a relationship? You know, how much time are you willing? Do you have like every day of the week that you require them? You know, what are you willing to deliver? Are you willing to give up that, you know, every day of the week? And it's not just time related. It's like, you know, deals can be about the way you're treated, or deals can be about, you know, monogamy or polygamy or whatever. So just know what your deal and deliver is with you. And when you become really clear with that, whether it's spoken or unspoken, the other person will have awareness of that because you're having your own back. And when you have your own back in a relationship, you become extra frickin' sexy. Having your own back just has you seem so much more confident, like you don't require or need that person. And they're just like, they're really an addition to your life. They're not like your lifeline or your source for being alive. They're not your God source or something. They're an addition and a contribution. They're not the only source. So you are. And so having your back by having a deal and deliver with you about what works for you will actually be one of the greatest contributions that you can have. So I've noticed lately, and I've been talking to several people in relationships over the last few weeks, that actually don't do that. And I became aware of how very few people have a deal and deliver with themselves about what they're willing to have in a relationship or not have, and willing to deliver. And you can write it out. By all means, you can write these deal and delivers out for yourself. Like, this is what I am willing to give in a relationship. And this is, so part of my deal and deliver is like, that it's understood that I leave every once in a while to go to work to Toronto for a few days, and I may leave for a few days for classes or conferences or whatever. And there is so much ease in that, where when I was with a partner before, and even though that was what I desired, I wasn't energetically having my back on it. So I would just keep on going, okay, well, it makes him mad, so I'm not going to do it. And now I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm choosing it. I'm choosing me. And the more I've been choosing me, it's funny. It's like the more I've been choosing to have my back, apparently, according to Mike, I've become like much more attractive and interesting and sexy. So are you willing to have more of your own back? Because apparently that makes us really sexy, ladies. And guys, you know what? I know that makes you really sexy too. My partner has his back fully and completely. And since day one that I met him, he kind of blew my mind with that. And that he's just like, you know, we would talk about money or something. He's like, I trust in me, and I trust in the universe, and I don't have the same points of view about money that you have. And that's okay. You can have your points of view about money. His crazy freaking capacity with allowance, even though he, you know, is not like a certified facilitator, and at the time had never done any access classes, just has this crazy freaking beauty with allowance for me and for himself. And that, oh man, that's sexy. That's what made me keep coming back for sure, was his unbelievable capacities with allowance. And so wow, we're getting close to the time. So being willing to create that. So please create one of those, and be willing to be like okay with, if it's only one night, that it's only one night, and that you could have every night feel like it's only one night, because that can be a heck of a lot of fun too. So number one, and I'm going with my lover's response on this, be you! Damn it, be you! So it's really clear that when you are being somebody else, if I'm in a relationship and I'm being my mom and my partner marries me when I'm being mom, well, shit, when I actually become me, then he may not like me so much. So the more I'm stepping into me, the more he is liking me, which is great. But I was not a thing being my mother or my father, which I had been in other relationships, In my last relationship, I was very much my mother and my father. And the other person was not somebody I desired actually being with. So I was trying to be everything he hated, which was, he didn't like my mom and he didn't like my dad. So I was trying my best to be everything he hated, to have him leave. And damn it, he stuck around for 9 years. So some people like abuse. And if they do, then they're going to just keep choosing you because, either they can abuse you or you can abuse yourself while you're with them or all that crazy stuff. So, but if you are truly being you and you're choosing joy and ease and fun and play and glory, let's throw it in too. If you are choosing all of that and you are being you, you'll have this vibration about you. You'll have this energy about you that is such an incredible invitation for people to just be like, I'd like to see you again. I don't know what it is about you, but I like you. When you're being that, people like themselves more when they're around you. So how fun is it that if you like you, that more people can like you as well? And even if you just chose for a day or an hour to be so-called arrogantly in love with yourself, be like, yeah, frick yeah, I'm awesome. Like acknowledging you. And some people would call that arrogance. And some people would just go, hell yeah, they're acknowledging themselves. Woohoo, whatever terminology you want to put on it, cool. If you are willing to be you and acknowledge how freaking cool you are, because every one of you is freaking outstanding and cool, and the more you be you, the more cool you are. The more you're trying to be, somebody else that you think is cool, chances are you're going to be kind of this twisted pretzel that doesn't show up so cool. So, before we end today, because we're about to end, I would like to just let you guys know about a few upcoming things where if you'd love to meet me in person, which I would love to meet you in person, in May, my friend Christine McIver and I are hosting this beautiful, sensual, sexy woman for a 3-day body class in the Access Consciousness 3-day body class. And so there are some prerequisites, which are bars and a foundation class. And my friend Christine is facilitating 2 foundation classes. They're both in Ontario this month, and one of them is in Sudbury next weekend, the 18th, 19th, 20th weekend, whatever numbers those are. And the next one, 19th to 22nd, and then the one in Toronto is March 11th, I believe, to 14th. So thank you. Yes, confirmed. So if you would like to take a foundation class or a bars class, and join us at this 3-day deliciousness of touching bodies, we would love to have you. So in the meantime, I hope you guys are having an awesome day and awesome play. And remember to keep turned on and tuned in to this show when we come back next week. And check out my website if you've got a few minutes. And if you'd love to have a session with me, please contact me at www.milicajelenic.com. Love you all. Have a great week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.